Let's go Eagles! Nick Sirianni's team is riding high after their dominant Super Bowl 59 win over the Chiefs. Man, I don't know about you, but I'm celebrating right now. It feels like I'm living the dream. If you're feeling pretty happy about this, too, and believe we have the potential to win the Super Bowl again, hit that like button hard. If possible, write something like this: Go Eagles! Let's win Super Bowl 60. The Eagles enter the 2025 offseason looking to make a run at defending their title, but with success comes challenges, big contracts, coaching staff changes, and crucial front office decisions that will shape the team's future. The offseason started with a bang when Kellen Moore, the former Eagles offensive coordinator and now head coach of the New Orleans Saints, wasted no time taking shots at Philadelphia's coaching staff. He's already hired running game specialist and assistant offensive line coach TJ Paganetti, and reports suggest Moore is moving closer to hiring Eagles quarterbacks coach Doug Nussmeier as his offensive coordinator. But the coaching departures may not stop there. Rising stars on the Eagles staff, such as running backs coach and associate head coach Jamal Singleton and defensive backs coach Christian Parker, are on Moore's radar for roles in New Orleans. It's not just the coaching staff that will see changes. Several key players are set to hit free agency and are expected to cash in after a stellar Super Bowl winning season. Defensive end Josh Sweat, who had 2.5 sacks in the Super Bowl, is looking at a deal worth between $18 to $22 million per year. Defensive tackle Milton Williams, who just came off his rookie contract and was a dominant force against the Chiefs, could command $18 to $20 million annually. Linebacker Zach Bond, a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year and a first-team All-Pro in his first season as an off-ball linebacker, is expected to land a contract worth $12 to $15 million per year. And let's not forget offensive lineman Mekhi Becton, who transitioned from tackle to right guard and excelled in the run game. He could see offers between $10 to $14 million per season. The challenge for GM Howie Roseman? Managing the salary cap. The Eagles currently have only $18 million in cap space, ranking 20th among the NFL's 32 teams. That means Roseman will need to get creative, possibly restructuring contracts, trading players, or even making difficult cuts to free up money. The good news? The NFL's salary cap is expected to skyrocket, potentially reaching $275 million in 2025 and continuing to grow due to booming television contracts. That's a game changer for teams like Philadelphia, who are looking to keep their championship core intact while still making aggressive moves in free agency. Speaking of cap management, Roseman's contract structuring has been nothing short of a masterclass. Look at Jalen Hurts' deal. His base salary remains low in the early years, allowing financial flexibility while the cap continues to rise. By the time his contract escalates in 2029, the NFL cap will be so high that it won't even matter. This is chess, not checkers, and Philadelphia is playing the long game. But with a long list of pending free agents, including Mekhi Becton, Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, Zach Bond, Brandon Graham, and Avonte Maddox, Roseman and the front office have some tough decisions ahead. Who gets re-signed? Who walks? How do they keep building a roster that can sustain championship success? One thing is clear. The Eagles are in a strong position to remain contenders for years to come. Their ability to manage the cap, draft wisely, and develop talent has put them ahead of the curve. But now, it's your turn to weigh in. What should the Eagles prioritize this offseason? Should they go all in to re-sign their key players, or make some bold moves in free agency? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And let's not forget, the Eagles aren't just dealing with their own free agents, they also need to stay aggressive in adding new talent. With the NFL Combine coming up in Indianapolis and free agency right around the corner, Howie Roseman has to decide which positions need reinforcements. Will Philadelphia target another dominant edge rusher to complement Haason Reddick? Do they invest in a young linebacker to replace Zach Bond if he walks? What about bolstering the secondary, which could take a hit if Avonte Maddox or Isaiah Rodgers leaves? One thing we know for sure, Howie doesn't sit still. He's always working the phones, always looking for ways to improve the roster, and always keeping the Eagles ahead of the competition. With the salary cap set to explode over the next few years, he has an opportunity to backload contracts in a way that keeps Philadelphia flexible while still making aggressive moves. The league is shifting towards an era where teams can afford to take bigger risks financially, and if history tells us anything, it's that the Eagles will be right in the middle of it. Now, while the focus is on the future, let's take a moment to appreciate what just happened. The Eagles' Super Bowl parade in Philadelphia was nothing short of legendary. Over 1.5 million fans flooded the streets to celebrate one of the most dominant championship performances in recent memory. The energy, the passion, the unity, this wasn't just a championship, it was a statement. Philadelphia has built something special, a culture of winning that doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. And for those wondering how this team will maintain its edge, Just look at the foundation. Jalen Hurts, at just 26 years old, already has a Super Bowl ring and a Super Bowl MVP under his belt. He's outdueled Patrick Mahomes on the biggest stage not once, but twice. And with the way he performs in high-pressure situations, he's proving to be one of the most clutch quarterbacks in the game. He's the heart and soul of this team, and as long as he's leading the charge, the Eagles are going to be in the mix for more championships. So, Eagles fans, here's the big question. What's next? With free agency approaching, which players do you think Philadelphia should prioritize? Should they go all in on keeping this core together, or is it time to make some tough decisions and reload for another run? And what do you think about the rise of the NFL salary cap? Will it give Philly an even bigger advantage in the coming years? Now, let's talk about the Eagles' biggest offseason storyline. Who stays and who goes? We know Howie Roseman is a wizard when it comes to contract structuring, but even he has tough decisions ahead. With names like Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, Zach Bond, and Mekhi Becton set to hit the open market, the front office has to weigh the cost of keeping them versus finding replacements. Josh Sweat is coming off a massive season and a dominant Super Bowl performance, where he terrorized Patrick Mahomes with 2.5 sacks. That kind of production doesn't come cheap, and with pass rushers being one of the most valuable commodities in the NFL, Sweat could command $18 to $22 million per year. Can the Eagles afford to keep him, or do they rely on young talent like Nolan Smith to step up? Milton Williams is another key name to watch. He just wrapped up his rookie deal and finished the season as the number 2 defensive tackle in pass rush win rate, according to Pro Football Focus. With interior defenders becoming increasingly valuable, he could see offers in the $18 to $20 million range. The Eagles love to build through the trenches, but will they be willing to pay that price, or do they let him walk and look to the draft? Zach Bond is the wild card. After making the switch to off-ball linebacker, he put up an all-pro season and was a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. That kind of production in just 1 year is rare, and teams are going to be throwing big money at him. If he's commanding $12 to $15 million per season, the Eagles have to decide whether they want to invest long-term or find a cheaper option in free agency or the draft. Then there's Mekhi Becton, the massive offensive lineman who transitioned from tackle to guard and thrived. The Eagles value their offensive line more than most teams, and keeping Jalen Hurts well protected is always a priority. But with Becton's price tag expected to be between $10 to $14 million, will Philadelphia be willing to pay, or do they let Jeff Stoutland work his magic with another young lineman? And let's not forget the other pending free agents. Brandon Graham, the heart and soul of this defense, is nearing the end of his career, but could he return on a team-friendly deal? What about Avonte Maddox, one of the Eagles' most reliable slot corners? Losing key veterans is always tough, but this is the reality of being a championship team. Other franchises want a piece of what you built. So, as we head into free agency and the draft, all eyes are on Philadelphia. What will be their next big move? Will they keep their core intact, or will we see some surprising departures? The Super Bowl was just the beginning. The real work starts now. Eagles fans, let's hear from you. Who do you think the team should prioritize this offseason? Should they go all in on keeping this roster together, or is it time to retool for another championship run? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's talk about it, because one thing is for sure, the Eagles are built for sustained success, and the road to another Lombardi starts now. Fly, Eagles, fly!